Oh, hey, good morning, everybody. I'm horticulturist Gary Bachman. Time for another daily dose of hort. Well, over the last couple weeks, I've been sharing pictures of my propagation setup and some of the various parts and pieces and equipment that I use. And I've had a lot of questions about what are those trays that you're using? And I always mention the Bootstrap Farmer brand. I've been using their products, oh my gosh, Kate, for what, like 4 years now, maybe 5 years. I like them because all of the products are heavyweight plastic. They're not single-use plastic that's so common in the horticulture industry. So I thought I'd just like to show you just all the various things that I use with the Bootstrap Farmer products. The first one I'm going to show you are the 6 cells. Used these for years. A couple years ago, I didn't like that the bottoms had just the slots in it. It was hard to push the seedlings out, and so I went ahead and I cut, and I did a daily dose on this of burning half-inch holes in, which made it easier to stick my finger in and pop plants out. Well, Bootstrap, they've gone ahead, the 6 cells that they have now have these holes in them, and they also have the slots for air pruning, which is really a great idea. Other, if you want to call them pots that I use, I started off using these deep 5x5 containers, and I started using these with microgreens. We've been growing microgreens here on the Gulf Coast since 2009. In fact, we were the first local growers here on the Gulf Coast and selling commercially when we were at the farmers market. I've switched over on microgreens from this deep container to this shallow container, but look at the bottom. It has kind of a mesh bottom on it. Makes it a lot easier to water from the bottom with the microgreens. Another thing I like about the products is they come in colors. It's just not boring black nursery plastic that you get every day. If you want to get colorful, there you go. That's also available. As far as trays go, here, let me kind of, I should have hid those at the beginning. I started off with the deep 1020 trays, again, the heavyweight plastic. And some of the newer trays I'm using are these really, would you call them thin, Kate, or not as tall? Not as shallow trays for the microgreens, 1020 trays. I also really like using these half trays for a lot of things. It fits really well with my style of growing. As far as actually growing in these containers, and here I'm just going to pick this up. We're going to see these again. These are little hibiscus seedlings, but I like growing seeds that I don't know what the germination rate is going to be in broadcasting in these deep 5x5s, and it gets you, saves you space is what it does. You can sow a lot of seeds in a smaller amount of space. A newer product that I've started using this year are these, and it's hard to see. Maybe if we look from the bottom, you can kind of see. But these are, if you want to call them cell trays, and they're 1020s. I showed these earlier when we were looking at the kale and the lettuce seedlings in the full trays. But I've decided that, again, to my growing style and habit, I like these little half trays. So I've cut them down on the table saw, you know, adapting to fit my needs. And these are all basil seedlings that I've started here. The last thing I wanted just to touch on, folks have asked me about what are those clear domes that I'm using in the propagation. And I'm gonna take these black ones, and Kate wasn't handling me this morning very well, so I kind of have this all set up wrong. But when you're germinating seeds, indoors on a germination rack, you really do need these humidity domes. That keeps the humidity up, helps seedlings, and helps cuttings also. But I like these, again, they're heavyweight plastic, much heavier than the cheap ones you're going to find at the garden centers right now this spring. And I like that they have these vents so that you start off with the vents closed to keep the humidity high. As the seedlings or the cuttings grow, you can just open them up. It allows more airflow, and that helps you produce a better product. They come in the 1020 clear. They also come in the 10 by 10 clear. And this is, I just wanted to show you why it's important. These are Peggy Martin rose cuttings that I took, I'm going to say 2 weeks ago. And keeping that humidity up is important if you want these cuttings to root. Look at that. That's 2 weeks old. That's 2 weeks old, and it's all due to humidity control. And we're going to have a successful sharing of Peggy Martin roses here in the neighborhood. They also come in the little 5x5s. Here, I'm just gonna change this up here. So sometimes when you just want to be propagating in a small tray, that fits right on top. Makes a fantastic little propagation container. Now, I know there's going to be questions about this. I'm talking about clear trays here. Okay, Gare, what's the deal with the black domes? Well, the black domes are good, especially this tall one when you're growing microgreens like sunflowers or pea shoots. You germinate those seeds in the darkness and they become etiolated and the shoots are yellow. And it's visually very nice. It's also increases a little bit of the sweetness on the microgreens. If you want to call it the shallow tray, or we'll just call them the shallow dome. I like using this when we're germinating lettuce seeds. Lettuce seeds germinate better, for the most part, in the dark. So a few days in darkness helps with the germination of lettuce seeds. So there's lots of tools that you can use to be successful when germinating seedlings or rooting cuttings on your propagation rack. So check out Bootstrap Farmer, bootstrapfarmer.com, and see all the different products they have to help you have a great garden this year. So thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time for another daily dose of Hort.